Welcome to Around the Track, the most exciting 15 minutes in wealth management by Dynasty Financial Partners and hosted by CEO Shirl Penney.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Around the Track, the most exciting 15 minutes in wealth management. I'm your host, Shirl Penney, founder and CEO of Dynasty Financial Partners. I'm really excited about today's conversation on Around the Track because I'm joined by Michael Lehman, who within the last 12 months has launched his own RIA, which we're going to talk about here today, called Premier Path Wealth Partners. Michael, thanks so much for sitting down and having this conversation with me.
Shirl, thank you for having me.
All right, you know the rules. There's only one rule on Around the Track, is we're going to try to make our way around the virtual track here. I'm going to ask you 8 rapid fire questions. Each one of those questions represents a furlong, 8 furlongs in a mile in racing. And we're going to try to make our way around in less than 15 minutes.
Okay.
You ready?
Keep me on track. I'm not a horse guy, but...
All right, I will. I'll keep you on track. So in life and in racing, how you break from the gate matters a lot. So nice, easy one. Let's get it going. Tell us about yourself and your new firm.
Let me start with a couple of years ago, we actually met. I always knew that independence was an area that I wanted to be in. It wasn't a question of really if I was going to another wirehouse or something like that. It was always where I wanted to be. And the changing moment for me is when I met you. I don't know if you remember, it was a couple of years ago. We were sitting in New York City, and I told you that this was my dream, but I didn't know if, honestly, did I have the skill set to move from advisor into CEO role? And you basically moved right into solution mode. And you said, which in my history, moving to solution mode is really where I would always get my passion. That's where solutions, obstacles became opportunities for me. And I knew then that we were going to make this move. My life started, I grew up in a middle-class family, or at least what I thought was a middle-class family. My dad was a bus driver. So not quite the history I know that you've had and stuff, but some of the things that, of hard work and resilience. And what I always remembered in my family and stuff was that if you did the right things and you did it the right way, that success and more importantly, happiness would be there. So, the resilience and the opportunities and how they saw them overcome obstacles really was kind of my foundation moving forward. And when I started getting into the workforce, my first couple jobs were in some banks, some private banks, some investment firms. And what I found was, I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest with you, but I found that those basically the types of clients that I was really relating to were the business owners. And they had similar values to me. They were tougher. They wanted to, they had the resilience. They wanted to have some direct conversations. So from there, I had my first job in the financial service industry. I started building my expertise. And from there, I knew that I had a natural affinity to the business owner and the entrepreneur, the multi-generational family, and we were successful. When I say we, there's a lot of people that help you along the way, right? A lot of mentors and a lot of people that I brought into my practice that helped us build it to eventually where we were working at a wirehouse, as you know, 12 years ago at Merrill Lynch. I joined there, became managing director, and ran a practice that became very, very successful. But I always knew that at some point, what we were looking for required us to have more capabilities, more resources, and I knew that we really weren't providing what I considered a best in class. And if we can't provide it, we're going to make sure that we bring in a partner that can. And that became my driving force for how we would go independent. And then, of course, after a few meetings with you, which didn't take long, we had a natural
Not how I
connection.
Remember it, but
That's it. But you and your team really helped us to get through that period. And then on April 28th, we launched our firm, Premier Path Wealth Partners. And then, we were successful. We brought over all our clients. We brought over the entire staff. And we were off to the races.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I love how you talked there about, how a lot of your clients who are entrepreneurs can relate. And I hear this a lot from your peers when they launch their business. A lot of their clients who come in who are entrepreneurs love seeing you launch your business because it takes them back right, to reminisce about when they had launched their business. So thanks.
No question. They were, in fact, I got more. There was a deeper connection with the clients, particularly the business owners.
Yeah.
After they felt we were on the same page.
Yeah, love it. All right, so second question then. So now you're owning and operating your own business, and I think it's worth mentioning because I know you're very humble. You are the newest billion-dollar RIA in terms of assets that you're overall
Almost.
advising on. I've seen the reports. You're looking pretty good. So congratulations on that. You guys
Thank
have
you.
done an amazing job. So now you're owning and operating your own business. You mentioned something else there, kind of moving from advisor to CEO. What's exciting you now? Like, what's getting you flying out of bed in the morning and saying, I can't wait to get in to work on this?
I think it's every day I just try to keep it simple. So many days, like we all have this. At the end of the day, you've done a bunch of tasks and you say, I didn't get anything done. So, and what I try to do is really focus in on 2 or 3 things that are going to make a difference in that day. That gets me excited. And it's both on the personal level and on the business level. I feel like if I'm not settled and I'm not making improvements in my personal life and I'm connected to my family, the family is the most important thing to me. And I take that same analogy as we work with the family that I have in the business world, and doing the right thing, being a better father, being a better husband. To me, if you don't have that as your core foundation, it's really, really hard to be focused in what you need to do there. But I would say growth mode is always on my mind. I feel like if you're not growing, you're not making any progress. So if there's 2 or 3 things that I need to do in a day, I have to make that call to basically clear the way for our staff and our great people, because that was the key to our success, is really letting them do what I knew they could do, and their capabilities, and empowering them. So my job is to lead them, not get in their way. And there's plenty of things that I could do on a task thing that I used to do, but I realized that I'm not very good at it. So focusing on where I am good, and that's making a difference in clients' lives, our staff, and empowering people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that you said full independence. So I want to ask you a question about full independence. And I was trying not to laugh, to be honest with you, when you said it was a quick process, because in large part you're so diligent. And I know when you looked at independence, you looked at different options, and even for me, helping to build the independent space, it's sometimes confusing. In different options, pseudo independence, halfway house models that are out there, independent broker dealers that have a corporate owned RIA that you can leverage off their ADV, versus being fully independent and owning your own ADV, owning your LLC, owning all the equity in the business, evolving from advisor to CEO, some of the things that you've already mentioned. So as you looked at the landscape, because I know you were diligent, why did you and your partners ultimately decide that full independence was the right answer for you guys?
Everyone tried to scare you into telling you that you couldn't do certain things,
Yeah.
and that you needed to take half steps. And I felt like you couldn't be half pregnant. We're going all in. So that was the only way to
If you're going to do it, do it.
If you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
The question wasn't, are we going to do it and stuff, but where are the gaps that we have? And, how could we fill those gaps? We realized we didn't need to do everything. We could find the skill set, and we could hire the skill set. We could find strategic partners that could get us up to speed. And that's, if you say I'm diligent, that's one thing. We're never going to put something out there until we've fully looked at, ringed it out, went through the pros and cons, and so it certainly was important that we didn't go halfway, and that we really did everything we could. Yeah.
And one of the things that I really admired about you in the process, you kept saying to me, tell me why this is better for my partners, and tell me why this is better for my clients, right? And then we got to why it might be better for you. And I really respected that about you as a leader. But let me ask you this: take yourself back. I don't know what the right number is. 3 years. Talk to yourself back when you just first started this, and what would you say, to one of your peers who's just now thinking about exploring whether or not, being independent or perhaps fully independent is the right thing for them? What advice would you give them?
I'd say look at your strengths and weaknesses, but do your due diligence. I think that you're right that there isn't a lot of education out there, and I think that's going to be the biggest obstacle. And I truly believe if they should do two things. One, this isn't an advertisement, I would say call Shirl Penney in Dynasty. And there's nobody that's going to educate you better. And I did speak to other people in doing the full due diligence that I needed to and stuff, but there was no one that made it more clear who spoke to me about what we really could do and didn't try to present the sale through a fear, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The second person they should call is me. Because if they do have a little bit of a fear and they're saying like, listen, maybe I can do this full independence, maybe I can do all those things, but it sounds like it's going to be a big lift maybe in the first 6 months or first year or things like that. Call Premier Path. We're looking to grow and we've built the foundation, so we have the infrastructure in place. So I would say those two things. Do your due diligence, get educated, and make a call to Dynasty or myself.
Okay, I love that. I always say that you can't sell somebody to be independent, right? You can educate them, and for us, it would be a problem for us over time if we were selling somebody to do something that's truly not in their best interest. Yeah, for sure. All right, so it's early, and you mentioned earlier, advisor to CEO, and that's something that we're passionate about in terms of leadership development, and that we fundamentally feel that the firms that are going to win disproportionately going forward are the ones that are best led. And I've loved, watching you in a short period of time move into that role. But just reflecting, and it's only, been, give or take 9 months. What have you learned about yourself, and what have you enjoyed about, moving more into that CEO type mindset?
I would say being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's why I'm here right now. I never did this before, and it's getting.
You're doing great.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot from you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really where it is, and to let go too, and to trust the process, trust your people. They're the ones that I am really, really fortunate that I brought in just the same resilience that I described that are my values and our clients' values are the same values of our staff. So they're very resilient. They get excited about solving problems. Some people, if it's not running smooth, they just don't, they kind of collapse and stuff. So that's what, taking a step back and empowering our people, not getting involved, because I realized that I said that earlier, that I should not be in those details, and I should be thinking about where, yes, we need to solve some problems today, but always have my eye on the prize of where do we need to go? Are we providing the right capabilities and resources to have the best-in-class organization so that we can grow and keep taking these great clients to they want to have an enduring legacy, and that's our vision, to help them have an enduring legacy. That's the most important thing, and legacy isn't just about wealth, it's also about the family and keeping things together. And we have the same exact goal, so we're aligned with them too. And we're trying to build that enduring legacy, and you don't do that. You do it one brick at a time, but you always have your eye on the prize.
Yeah, I love that enduring legacy. That's a lot about how we feel about our relationship with you and our clients, right? Is that, and we get to live our American dream by empowering others to live theirs, which in turn is exactly what you do for your clients, right? So there's this beauty in the alignment that we get, here on the independent side. And I love what you said now a couple times about delegation. And I think as a leader, delegation is a strength, not a weakness. And you've now highlighted it several times.
You give up. Sometimes people think they have to do everything and stuff. You have to let it go and realize. And if there is a gap in your organization, find that person that has the same values and culture, and you move ahead.
All right. So you're in the middle of it right now, and you're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. Just reflecting on where you are now, and if you can think back, right before the launch, based upon some of your expectations or what you thought it would be like, what has surprised you? Maybe to the upside, what's been better than what you thought, and maybe what hasn't been as good.
Yeah, maybe it was the fog of war, but I really can't tell you that there were any big surprises. Now, there's two reasons for that. You pointed out that we're pretty diligent in preparation, but you can't do that alone. When we talk to our clients, the most important thing is that we're asking them dozens of questions that they haven't even thought of. You and your team asked us dozens of questions that we didn't think of. So what it did was, yes, it prepared us, but it also, I'm a big believer in that preparation leads to more resilience. So when there were issues, and of course there's always issue, and why shouldn't there be? Whenever you're making a change and you're doing something for the better, it's not a straight line up. You're going to go through those things. So that resilience, I think, prepared us much better than I think, so I'm sorry I can't give you any negatives. On the positive end,
So you're not going back anytime soon?
I'm not going back anytime soon. They would have to drag me in handcuffs to go back. On the positive side, I would say that we always had very deep, close relationships with our clients. But in the first 10 months, we've already built on our capabilities and our resources and things we didn't have before that have allowed us to, in my opinion, to have even deeper and more meaningful conversations with our clients. So we're really proud of that. That takes it to the next level. And there's been, I don't want to say that was a complete surprise, but I didn't think it would happen so quickly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that you're open for growth now, and that you're really focused on growth. So if you were a potential investor or a client that might be a good fit for Premier Path, or maybe you're an advisor listening to this conversation that wants all the benefits of independence, but perhaps doesn't want to be the CEO, wants to join a fast-growing, high-quality, high-integrity-led organization like yours, what would you say to that client or the advisor about why they should give you a call?
Well, this may sound funny, but I don't think every client or every advisor would be right for our organization. So we have to be careful. And I mentioned earlier that the culture is important. So people that are yearning for a firm that is reinvesting into their people, into resources, and it is striving for the best capabilities all the time, we're the place for you. People that have a passion for growth, the ones that really want to have a true partnership and not some other corporate agenda that has nothing to do with you. Or potentially you may be independent already, but you don't have the scale and the resources in order to make that change. So I would say for all those reasons, the client probably needs to have, likes open and direct communication, is on the same page as us of building an enduring legacy, has that resilience. And I would say the same thing for anyone else that wanted to join our organization. Please give us a call.
Awesome. All right. So we're down to our last question, right? So the finish line is right here in front of us, and this is the same question I've asked all the guests on Around the Track as a closing question, which is, what is your triple crown? What is that big goal that's out there? And ironically, earlier this morning, I had a phone call with my trainer, or my horse trainer, just to be clear, Bill Mott, who's a Hall of Famer. And our horse, Alicia Meadows, is on the Kentucky Derby Trail this year, which is super excited for us. And we're talking about big dreams, big goals, and whether you're the jockey, the trainer, the groom, the owners, everyone's excited about this big goal that seems like it's out there and almost unattainable, to win the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. Right? It's happened very few times in the history of racing. Right? So there's the analogy. Like, what is that big goal that has you excited to run after, even though it seems almost unattainable? You're going to drive towards it. So for you, Mike, what would your triple crown be?
Well, this is just between you and me, right? Nobody else is listening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. We'll pretend that it's just. I would push that, and I'm not trying to, 12 months. I'm thinking before 2025.
Okay.
We want to double.
It's a great goal.
Yep. We want to double. It's going to be, that would be a big win for us. We know that we have to do it in 3 different ways. We know that our investing in our capabilities and resources is really going to expand not only our services and what we can provide to our existing clients. Obviously, we're positioning ourselves with growth, with organic new clients coming in. And I've mentioned a couple times that we want others to join our organization. We're hiring now, and we're going to continue to hire. We have growth, and we're looking for like-minded advisors, and we'd like to have 1 or 2 advisor teams over the next 12 to 18 months.
All right, Mike, I love it. This has been a lot of fun. Look, literally and figuratively, I'm betting on you. So thanks for sitting down and having this conversation with me.
My pleasure.
Thank you as well for joining us for another edition of Around the Track.